What's good, y'all? It's your boy Kenny Buttons and Miss Madley coming to you live from the A-Room. Let's go!
The price is wrong, bitch.
All I hear is gift, we need that beat, my nigga. We need the verse. We need some heat, my nigga, like it's the first. They know I got it, nigga had it since birth. If we ain't talking about the bag, we ain't talking about the work. No more freebies, no more IOUs. I go Stevie. Wonder how these niggas really see me.
Yeah, what's going on, everybody? What's going on, Miss Madley?
Hey.
Welcome to the A-Room podcast. This is our third episode. Title of this episode is Go Broke or Go Home. Just to remind everybody out there, this is a podcast from producers to producers, exchanging information on the daily grind. So as we said from the beginning, your feedback is extremely important. If you have any questions, any concerns, any comments, feel free to drop us a line on all social media at the A-Room Podcast. Or if you want to hit us with an email, you can do so, thearoompodcast@gmail.com. If you're an artist or a producer and you'd like your music to be featured on the A-Room Podcast, please send your tracks, 3 at the most, to the thearoompodcast@gmail.com for consideration. We're looking to feature new artists and producers weekly. Well, if you've heard the show, you know what comes next. Soup of the day, baby. Let's go. Yeah, that joint was fire. That joint was fire. It's from the homie Motif Alumni. Tell them a little bit about what the soup of the day is.
Yeah, so I just happened to go to this panel 2 weeks ago. It was about cryptocurrency. And
Cryptocurrency.
well, Bitcoin. Everybody knows what that is. Bitcoin,
Well,
Litecoin.
I mean, I've heard of Bitcoin. I don't really know much about Bitcoin. You know, give me a little insight on what Bitcoin is.
Well, Bitcoin is a basically cryptocurrency. It exists in a digital form, but the moving mechanism behind it is a blockchain, which is basically like an open ledger where all transactions are being monitored.
Right.
You know, instead of having to send a payment to Kenny through a bank and a Visa or whatever the steps it has to go through, I'm paying straight from my wallet to yours.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And there are miners, to really briefly recap the whole thing. It's way deeper than that, but just a disclaimer. But yes, there are miners who are basically verifying the processes of verifying the transactions.
Right.
So for cryptocurrency, if I'm not mistaken, there's 6 stages or 6 miners that have to basically verify that I have enough money to pay Kenny Buttons, you know? And then this happens on blockchain, which is an open ledger, as I already mentioned, and then you can access that information with your key.
Is this a practice that's going to be used, say, in the music business? Is this becoming a common practice?
Yes. So what was surprising to me was that now you can use the blockchain. I mean, you have been able to, but it's getting more common that you can use the blockchain for other transactions. For example, music. So instead of going through the whole label and the whole mill of publishers and distributors, I can actually just sell my music straight from my home to my end user, which is a fan who could be in Korea or Japan or anywhere else in the world. And the money transaction can also happen through the blockchain.
Wow. So it essentially it cuts out the middleman completely.
It sure does.
Wow.
And it takes it even higher. Like as of right now, it's in theory, but there are already platforms ready to do that. For example, one of them is Purple Throne, and it's already accepting artists, and it's already kind of implementing this whole blockchain system into their work. So that's one of the sites to check out. But as I was saying, it is taking it to another level. For example, right now we have ASCAP and BMI, who we have to kind of wait for to get this whole big machinery, get our money, and make sure that, you know, our stuff is being reported properly and so on and so forth.
You got to pay a yearly fee.
And I have to wait about like 9 months to see my money.
Right.
And another funny fact is that one of the libraries I work with, they say that almost 40% of the music usage gets lost in the system.
Wow.
So let's say if my track gets played, let's say 100 times,
so 60% of it is only being tracked.
Yeah, I'm only getting paid for 60% of that, which is crazy. And knowing that, it's amazing that there is another way to go about it. You know, I don't have to watch TV every day to make sure, because some publishers actually do that.
Right.
That's what they do. They sit there, watch TV all day, every day, knowing what channels.
Timing. Are playing their catalog.
Exactly.
Right. So this essentially puts the power back into the creative's hands.
Yes, absolutely.
Wow.
So now, if this was really fully integrated and implemented, there would be no need for ASCAP and BMI in a sense, or I'm sure they would then find a way to make themselves relevant yet again. However, as of right now, this seems like a really, really good plan to me, you know, in theory.
Right.
Because then ABC can directly come to me and say, hey, Madly, I want to use this track, such and such minutes were used, and it's on the open ledger. It's not like they can cheat, you know what I mean?
Right.
I mean, but, you know, obviously there are, like, kinks and stuff that, you know, answers that I don't have.
Like anything else. Yeah. With new technology, you're always going to have a time period where there's kinks, there's bugs that have to be worked out and fixed, but eventually they end up getting it there.
Right. And legislative things are very important, because obviously who wants to be cut out? You know what I mean? I'm sure
this essentially could put some people out of business.
Absolutely.
Wow.
Yeah. But it really opened my eyes, and just to kind of, you know, summarize this whole thing, because it was a lot. You know, I can't even probably properly represent what they were saying, but all I want you to know is that this is very interesting. It's a new technology. It's almost like internet used to be 10, 20 years ago.
Right.
20 rather, but you know what I mean?
Right. No, I as I explained to you before, I heard this topic being discussed a couple of months ago. Didn't really pay attention to it, but it was from another source in the music business, and they were talking about how this is kind of the new thing, or it's going to be the new way in which we can get paid.
Yeah, and I would like to get the guy from Purple Throne to actually come and talk about it more. Again, I don't know if I'm doing it justice, but that would be such a great podcast. So hopefully in the future, this will be in a lineup for us.
Well, that's the point of the podcast. Not just to have fun and have tons of laughs, but we're here to learn as well. So let's make it happen.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, I didn't want to do it, but I have to do it. Last week, Madly happened to blow me up. Said the soup of the day what was coming out of my nose. So this week, Madly's dripping heavy over there. Pause.
Well, that's gross, but thank you. And thank you for the bar, Kenny. That was really awesome. I was out for like freaking 4 days.
It's been going around. It's been hitting everybody heavy.
Like your mom's. Okay.
Anyway, feel better.
Just to pay back.
Yeah, feel better. Well, today's main course is a personal one for us. Go broke or go home.
Ma, the meatloaf! Fuck!
We actually had another subject. It was about professionalism, which we are going to talk about next week. But personal life kicked in. So I know, Kenny, like every time I call you or FaceTime you or see you, it's been going on for almost a month. You've been looking like you're somewhere else. Your thoughts are somewhere else. You're quite distracted, and it looks like you have a ton of bricks on your shoulders. So tell us what's up.
Man, this business, it takes a fucking toll on you. Like, you know, straight real. Like, you know, I've reached a point in my career where, you know, I put it all on the line. Everything. I've really taken a risk, a chance on what I love and what I believe, and I know that I have something special to contribute to this music community. You know what I mean? So creatively, that's not ever going to stop. But let's keep it 100. Being broke in this music game is not easy. You know, not getting paid for your work or people not wanting to pay you for your work is not easy to accept. Shit, you know, being a full-time dad, a full-time single dad, I should say, and all of the responsibilities falling on your shoulders, like, there's so much.
Right.
I mean, about 3 years ago, you know, I was with 1 foot in, 1 foot out in this business, and, you know, going to, you know, events and different, you know, industry panels, I realized, like, you know, and seeing other producers move and artists move, I realized, like, you can't do this with 1 foot in, 1 foot out. There has to be a total commitment to this grind. Right. And so at the time I was in the service industry. I was making 6 figures a year, full coverage benefits, 2 weeks paid vacation. My 401k was ridiculous, you know, 50 cents to the dollar. I could have easily or still been in the job and still been making the bread, but I knew that the only way that I was gonna make this dream a reality was something had to sacrifice. Something had to be sacrificed. And so I decided that, you know, I was gonna quit my job. And thank God I was able, because of this job, to save, I would say, about $50,000.
That's a good start.
It's a great start.
Right.
Not a lot of us have the opportunity to put that kind of bread away. Mind you, you know, I was married, still a full-time dad. I was taking care of the household. I had reached the fork in the road.
Right.
I said, listen, in order for me to do this, something has to give.
Right.
So I decided to leave my job. Right. And
really take a leap of faith?
I took the leap of faith and I said, in order for me to do this, I need to be in this full time. I have to give this my 150 every day.
Right. Didn't you also use 401k? You said you cashed that in as well.
I did. Like, so.
Was that at the same time? Or?
No. So in the beginning, I had something like, I don't know, like 30 G's cash. Right. And I lived off of that for about a year and a half. Mm-hmm. And that allowed me to travel, again, pay the bills, put food on the table. And then, you know, after a year and a half, I was like, shit, there's nothing left. And at this time, like, I was getting some residual money from TV, but it wasn't a lot, especially when you're going through a third party. You don't see any front end. So I was getting money, but it wasn't, and it still isn't a lot.
Right.
So again, I hit a fork in the road, and I was faced with the decision: should I have a 401k? Do I take a loan and pay that loan back, or do I just say, fuck it, like, cash in? And I decided, like, you know, I got to cash in. So I cashed in.
What are the penalties, like 40%?
I had something like 25 grand in, and I took a huge hit. I forget what it was 10% plus all the taxes. So I ended up walking away with something like, I don't know, like maybe like 19 grand when it was all said and done.
Right.
And then that afforded me allowed me to do this again for like another year or so.
Yeah, year-ish.
Ish. And then I hit that fork in the road again, you know, like, you're still grinding, we're still hustling, traveling. I mean,
Right.
we've traveled together. Like,
oh, yes.
And so, you know, the bank account then came again, like, to, you know, its final zero. And so here I am, completely living off of good credit.
But then you took loans, right?
I did. And, you know, so because I played the credit game for so long and I built such great credit, I said, fuck it, like, you know, I got to take a loan out. So I took a loan out for $25K. I said, like, this is going to hold me for another year to allow me to move, navigate, build, but more importantly, work on my craft and get better at what I'm doing. So I took out the loan, and that was last year. And that loan soon became nothing. Right? So now I've been living off of credit card, basically my credit cards.
Yeah, join the club.
Yeah.
Yay.
So not only do I have a loan of
to
$25K, but now I have 2 credit cards at almost 10 grand a piece. If you do the homework, I'm in negative about 45 grand.
Where's the soundbite where it's like, yay, we gotta put that in.
No, this shit is serious, y'all, because a lot of people, we're approached daily by people who want our music madly. And, they want our services, and they don't understand why we put the dollar value behind what we do. Right. And we put the necessary sacrifices, into this grind to be where we are. So that comes at a cost.
Right.
And because people aren't paying, because people feel that they're entitled to everything for free, we're scrambling now.
I mean, I know that there is definitely a paying dues part from everybody. And sometimes it's like, it's harsh, but nobody cares about your personal shit, Nobody
Facts.
cares how much debt you have or what sacrifices you made. It's just that this is the name of the game and this is what you have to do. You just gotta, dust off and keep it moving,
Right.
But at the end of the day, there should be also, it should be said that a lot of people are going through a lot of fucked up shit. It's just not you and I. I know so many stories like ours. So this is kind of our vent session.
No, it is. Well, don't get it twisted. This is not a feel sorry podcast. This is a reality check for everyone who thinks or perceives things to be what they're not. And that's the problem. This is a business, y'all. And unfortunately, the entertainment business is the only fucking business that people feel that they should get our work for absolutely nothing. And I know that's another podcast.
Right.
But it has to be said. Like, we are the creatives here. And we're the reason why the artist is successful. And they have something to move with. And that is completely forgotten. Shit. I know you got some shit to say, Madly.
Well, shit, I got into debt the day I decided to pursue music as a profession.
Right.
So I lived in Florida at the time, but I was in the States by myself. Nobody would give me a loan. No bank would finance anything I wanted to do because I wasn't American.
Right.
So I wanted to go to IAR. I decided I want to study production and engineering. It was 15 grand at the time to get into school.
Right.
And I had to relocate from Florida, go to Estonia for a while, pick up my belongings and make new home in New York.
Right.
Mind you, I didn't know anybody in New York. I showed up, and there's a lot of like fucked up backstory to this, but let's just say when I got off the plane August 31st, I didn't have a place to stay in New York. I had $700, $800 in my pocket, that's it. So you already know that's not gonna cover anybody's deposit or move-in, and even rooms at the time were like $500 or whatever. I had a random person who I knew from another person pick me up from the airport, and he was like, just, to make friends and new contacts, and he's like, hey, so where can I take you? I'm like, closest hotel or motel, wherever I can afford.
Wow.
So this dude picked me up, and I said, well, I don't really have anywhere to go. And he's like, well, I live in Long Island. I have my whole family with me, cousins and everybody, but you're welcome to stay. And he was so nice. And I was so desperate that even though I just met the dude, knowing the mutual contact, I had trusted him enough to take me to his home and offer me a place to stay for a few nights.
Right.
Dude, I slept in the room with 2 of his cousins playing video games all night. My school started, it was in Hicksville, New York. And again, forever grateful for this man. Right. But just to give you the story, my train left 6 in the morning from Hicksville. Dudes were playing video games till 2 in the morning. I had 4 hours of sleep. I lived on top of my duffel bag, you know?
Wow.
And I just got on a train every morning, went to school for IAR, studied my thing, and came back to Hicksville. And then started looking for jobs. Finally got a job making $250 a week because I went to school at the same time, so it had to be part-time.
Right.
The best part of the week, I got paid every other Friday. You know the McDonald's in Union Square?
Yeah.
Dude, that was my treat. I went to McDonald's
Wow.
and I bought a meal.
Right.
That was a treat. Like, I sat there like a king, you know?
Right.
With bums and everything. I was there having my Big Mac, and that was my treat. That was how I celebrated, you know?
Wow.
So finally moved out of Hicksville, crashed at my friend's couch. Thank you so much, Chardin, for another month. And then I finally accumulated enough money to make some sort of down payment and get a room in Brooklyn.
Wow.
And then, you know, still making $250, you know, it's enough to just buy potatoes and milk, basically.
Right.
So I learned...
That's light in New York City.
Dude.
That's light.
Super light.
Right.
So, you know, I still had phone bills and stuff. So that left me with like, what, $20, $30 per week for anything.
Right.
Food, shampoo, tampons, shit,
Right.
you know, life. So I learned how to make potatoes in 50 Shades of Grey. You name it, I can make potato tarts, mashed potato, fried potato, boiled potato, anything potato, you know.
Right.
I'm the man.
Right.
You know?
Right.
So, and that lasted for years. I was so broke for a while that I couldn't go home. For about 4 years, I didn't see my mom and dad, you know, because they were kind of hoping that this is just a phase, this whole music thing, and she would come home. So that's why they kind of didn't make their way out here, because they were like, okay, you know, she'll come back, and it's gonna, you know, it's not like we weren't talking. It's just that it just happened that way.
Right.
And finally, when they realized, oh shit, she's not coming, so they started coming here,
Right.
and I started eventually going back, but it was tough as hell. So, you know, even with, I worked 3 jobs at one point,
Right.
you know, and still, you know, was making enough money at the time. But then it's like, when do you have the time to make music?
Right. And that's another thing. Like, you working a full-time job or 3 jobs, where do you fit the time in to be creative so you can still move while you came to the States in the first place?
Right. And I didn't have my mom or anybody here that as a backup plan. I couldn't move to my grandparents' basement or anything like that. I had to make it work in New York, in the States, by my damn self.
Right.
You know, it was tough from that perspective as well. And then I started working at the studio. Still wasn't making that much money. I was making a little more, but at that point, it was a decision between, do I want to be a server or somebody, or start a new career somewhere else?
Right.
Or stay in music and make less money.
Right.
And that was a conscious decision.
Right. Where are you now? Like, how is it for you financially now?
Well, for the longest time, I didn't even get any credit or anything like that because, you know, if you're not from this country, this is another stack of bullshit on top of the bullshit that the people that live here have to go through.
Right.
You know?
Right.
So finally, my credit, I started building. I didn't have credit.
Right.
Anything, 0.
Right.
So I finally took some certified loans and stuff just to build the credit.
Right.
Again, my doors opened when I finally got my first credit card. I was like, yeah, you know?
Right.
And after that, I've taken out, I want to say 6 credit cards. And most of it is going for music.
Right.
I did my taxes just a few weeks ago, and I realized last year alone, I spent $8,500 of the money that I basically don't have.
Right.
Or I do, but I don't.
Right.
On travel. On music and music-related travel only. $8,500.
It's crazy.
I was looking at my closet the other day. Dude, if I could, I would take a match and set this shit on fire. I don't like anything that I have in my closet. I maybe like 4 pieces that I would save, you know?
Facts.
And I was looking at my socks and looking at my stuff, and I'm like, wow, I'm not saying letting myself go, but I'm really putting myself in a place of a stepchild. Like, I'm not.
I wouldn't say that. I think you're putting all your necessary. I mean, listen. Everyone wants to look great. Listen, I love to dress and I love new things as well. But that's not the important. That's not important. Not in this journey. Not
today,
not today
right.
in this grind.
No,
and that's part of what this. That's part of sacrifice, and that unfortunately our personal wardrobes have sacrificed a great deal for the bigger cause, for the greater good.
Right, but it's very interesting to think about it, because now, whether we like it or not, it's a decision that we have made for the bigger cause.
Facts.
So, for example, now when I'm looking at things, I own a few expensive pieces.
Right.
But one of the reasons why I'm buying them is because I know that if I pay $300 for this purse, I know that's just gonna last me for 4 years. Versus if I go to Rainbow and get that $40 purse. I mean, no offense to anybody that does that, but I know that I'm gonna have to go there 3 months later and get another one.
Right.
You know, same with shoes, same with coats, same with other stuff. So I'm constantly making these decisions, knowing that, oh, I'm gonna be grinding another year or so. Like, I have the bins. You have the bins. We talked about the bins, right? You have these bins for winter clothes, and you have a bin for summer clothes.
Right.
And every time I'm putting my winter clothes up, I'm like, fuck, I really, really hope this is the last time. And the next time I'm taking them down, I'm gonna pour some gasoline over this shit, and I'm gonna set it on fire in my fire escape.
Facts.
It's not happening.
Right,
I'm
right.
taking it down, and it's like a mourning the day I'm taking these things back down and take them to the laundromat to wear them yet another season. You know.
Right. And listen, please don't take this podcast as Madly and I complaining, because by no means are we complaining. We're venting.
Right.
We are more than grateful and blessed to be able to wake up daily and do what we love. Not everyone can say. This is what I told a friend a couple of weeks ago. We were having a play date for Nico, and he was like, "So how's the music thing going?" I said, "Listen, bro, I'm about 50 grand in debt. I'm living off of my credit, but I'm the happiest that I've ever been. I'm the happiest that I've ever been. I'm doing what I love." So this is not a podcast of us complaining, but venting and sharing what our reality and for many are in this music shit.
Yeah,
This grind.
For sure, you know, and I wouldn't change it for anything, honestly. The only thing I'm thinking now, you know, as you have learned a few things and you're like, okay, some things I would have did differently.
Right.
But as far as the whole big picture goes, you can't foresee it from years, you know, back. Like,
Right.
there's no way of knowing what's coming. It's just that what I do know is it's different for everybody. There are people who get lucky, or maybe 2 or 3 years into production and then get a shot, and good for them.
Right.
For me, it didn't happen. For you, it didn't happen. I mean, it's taken me 13 years.
Right.
I don't know about you. 20 what?
And I don't. Yeah, I mean, listen. I started out as a singer when I was 17. Like, you know, and I've opened up for some of the biggest acts in the world. Like, my first show was opening up for Jody Watley, for Christ's sake. So by no means have I, you know, I'm complaining. The journey has made me who I am today. You know, at the end of the day, this can't be about the money. You can't go into this, you know, thinking that you're going to be a millionaire, because most of those people are here today and gone tomorrow.
I think this music grind is not for the faint of heart. Like,
Facts.
or sane in the head.
Facts.
Like, I wouldn't be here at this point financially and sometimes mentally, and that's another podcast. But if I didn't have that driving passion,
Right.
I would not, for the life of me, I would not be there. I would have quit at least 5 years ago.
Right. The reality is there's going to be more losses than wins, and you have to be ready for that.
Yep.
Well, listen, y'all, that concludes the main course for today. You know what's up next. It's that side dish.
What the fuck did you put in that sauce?
Well, the featured artist today is the homie Lyrivelli, and I hope I'm not butchering that name, Miss Madley. He got a joint by the name of In the Ghetto, produced by AAA and the homie Farenheit.
Yes.
I love when you hear a record, you can close your eyes. You don't need visuals for the record to really resonate.
Yeah,
Shit
it's
is
such a dope record. It's available on Spotify, other platforms, and on YouTube. Go support Velli. He's so amazing. He's such a great artist. Yeah, let's go. Let's play.
Let's do it.
Yeah, a nigga coming up. I took too many losses, too many niggas doubting. I had to reinforce it. A younger nigga in my neighborhood seen plenty corpses. Cause we was poor and we ain't grow up in that Oval Office. Water for cereal, couldn't afford no milk. Walking to the Aki spot, no money, I was robbing still. Still it was my mother and my father in the projects. Crack fiends outside my door to make the line stretch. For drug dealers, crip niggas and blood niggas. Then bullets flying and bullets burn if the slugs hit ya. Not small-minded, I'm trying to see the bigger picture. And to escape, I started writing my own scriptures. Looking up to God, I just thank him for the day. Cause before that we was lost, somehow we find a way. Somehow we finally made it. Them dudes, we had to pay it regardless, I'm never breaking. I know them niggas is hating, whoa. Every day we working just so we can stay alive. If you want a real nigga, come look me in my eyes. For my niggas dead, blow the smoke up in the sky. All the niggas hating and I don't know why. Cause we grew up in the ghetto. Grew up in the ghetto. Grew up in the ghetto. Grew up in the ghetto.
That's a dope joint. Again, huge shout out to Lyrivelli, AAA, Farenheit. Miss Madley, that's our podcast for today. It was a good one. Good hanging with you for another week.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you so much, guys, for tuning in. We'll see you next week. Big shout out to all of the contributors to the show.
Huge shout out to all of the contributors from Podcast One till now. We want to shout out, of course, hiphopcanada.com for the platform. We really appreciate it. Mo Jointz, Music, Nook Beats, Mr. Jones, Stan the Man, Nino Bless, the homies Motif, Drawzilla, Duck Dodger. Guys, we really, really appreciate it. Remember, y'all, this is an interactive show, so if you have any comments, any questions, don't forget to drop us a line on all social media at The A-Room Podcast. You want to shoot us an email, thearoompodcast@gmail.com. And remember, we're featuring a new artist or producer weekly. So if you want to be considered for that, please send us 3 joints to The A-Room Podcast. That's it. Be blessed. And don't forget to eat.
All I hear is gift, we need that beat, my nigga. We need the verse. We need some heat, my nigga, like it's the first. They know I got it, nigga had it since birth. If we ain't talking about the bag, we ain't talking about the work. No more freebies, no more IOUs. I go Stevie, wonder how these niggas really see me. Cause what I look like, not charging y'all for punchlines and talking left. Knowing damn well that hook right. Yeah, I got some raw shit. Y'all know what my cook like? Serve your hors d'oeuvres, keep a tray by my hip. Second base, pass your bitch, slight delay with my pitch. Poetic with the words, she put her A on my tip. But back to the lecture at hand, I'm the shit. And ain't shit free, you busy rapping about whips, bricks, chips, my nigga Dip will pay the fee. The nerve of you niggas, I never heard of you niggas. Fuck around and murder you niggas. Come on, man. Sure you do.